Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to Canadian Football Central, CFL content for the fans, by the fans. And we have our Week 19 review here. Rick, we are now on the tail end of what was our CFL weekend, where Rick and friends flew to Winnipeg to see the Winnipeg-Toronto game. Then we all drove to Saskatchewan to see the Saskatchewan-BC game, although it's funny because only one team showed up to that game. And then we went back and saw an NHL game in Winnipeg between the Jets and the Wild. And so overall, it was a fun weekend for us. And as you can see, we have these hats now. And you might have noticed actually when I did that.
Don't forget, we also attended a Jets game on Sunday, which it did not go in my favor.
I did say that. I said the Jets Wild game. Yep. But yeah.
Wait, I gotta go this way.
There you go. And when we were in Regina here, you got to tilt up a little bit. They didn't really see the numbers, Rick.
Oh,
there. Oh, a little higher. Hold
on. Let me take my mic off.
You're next to the thing. You're not in front of it. You weren't in front of the camera. You were just kind of beside the camera.
Oh.
There you go. You can still see it. There's a little glare, but you can see it exactly. As after the game in Regina, we had a bit of a fun surprise, and we'll talk more about that when we kind of get to it. But overall, make sure you guys share the video around, and subscribe. I'm trying to keep my voice down as recording this a bit late, and I just got a text from my mom to keep it quiet. Just because she's trying to get some rest, so I'll make sure to do that. But all in all, Rick, should we get started?
We should. With the first disappointment of the weekend?
Yeah, you don't say. It was a disappointment for me, that's for sure. As well, the Winnipeg Blue Bombers would fall to the Toronto Argonauts, snapping the Bombers' 8-game winning streak. Argos would win 14-11 over the Bombers in Winnipeg. With the Toronto win, this would officially eliminate the Hamilton Tiger Cats from playoff contention, as Toronto needed to lose out and Hamilton needed to win out. However, Ticats fans that were frustrated with Winnipeg, and not in the sense of you can't really rely on other people to get it done for you. Winnipeg would get a little bit of taste of that medicine shortly after this game. And so, I mean, if we're going to talk about this game, there's a few things we have to talk about. Right out of the bat, Rick, 7 sacks for the Toronto Argonauts. They were all over Zach Collaros. And there were multiple reasons for that. There were times when the offensive line held on pretty good, but they can't hold it on for a good 6 whole seconds. And Collaros was just not able to find anything, whether it was Collaros not seeing guys that were open or whether it was receivers that were not being able to get open, and Collaros is looking for something that's not there, and the pocket collapses in a play that's either responsible in the quarterback or the receivers, or you had some instances where the offensive line just completely missed their assignment, and Collaros suffered a hit because of that, in which that's obviously on the offensive line. But 7 sacks, at the end of the day, you win as a team, you lose as a team. Not a good sight, as the Bombers' defense does decent. I mean, they hold the Argos to only 14 points in this game, but Winnipeg's offense could not do anything this game, and they just struggled, as the amount of times where they would, like, Collaros didn't inherently have that bad of a game, as, I mean, he goes 23 for 30. Well, here, listen, because he goes 23 for 30. He goes 249, 8.3 yards on average. That's not terrible. It's not great for Collaros' numbers, but that's not inherently that bad. 1 touchdown, 1 interception. I'm not going to lie. This 1 pick doesn't even count because this is the Hail Mary at the end of the game when they're just trying to see if they can get anything. So I hardly count that interception, to be honest. Brady Oliveira does decent in the ground game. 12 rushes, 64 yards, an average of 5.3. A few good rushes would kind of make up for some of that. Kenny Lawler with a good game. for the receiving core with 108 receiving yards. But after that, there's quite a drop off. As Oliveira, Wilson, Wheatfall, Nick Dembski doesn't do much, and neither does Kevin Clarcius. And one of the issues with the Bombers in this game is the amount of times where they drove the field and then just was not able to convert on it. Whether that was and I don't just mean in touchdowns, I mean just points where they couldn't score, and they would try to go for it on third down, and they turn over on downs, or they try to kick it. And Sergio Castillo with a rough night, as he would go 1 for 3. The one he hit was only 26 yards, and there's be 2 crucial kicks that he'd miss. He'd miss a 42-yarder, take a single in the first quarter, and then he would miss one, I believe that was 46 later that game, or in the 30s. I can't remember. It was in that 40-30 range, something that Castillo would normally hit. So an off night for Sergio Castillo. If you're him, you definitely want to get back to form. And it just kind of this is a frustrating game if you're Winnipeg, but then also at the same time, you won 8 straight. You really can't complain about dropping one eventually. But if we go to the Argos side of things, so first of all, Chad Kelly, he got a bit of an earful near the start of this game with a bit of a hostile crowd with some pretty I just remember sitting there and I'm watching this game and I see like a whole section of people over to like the east side of the stadium start chanting.
Oh, Carter, I don't mean to interrupt, but let's just picture this. Okay, so I'm at the 10-yard line right here.
Yeah.
If you go around the corner into the end zone, this is where Carter's sitting.
Yeah.
And when Carter says that there's hostile environment between him and that whole corner, to me, all we can hear is the Bomber fans hackling Chad Kelly.
The big no means no chant really caught a lot of steam. And the second I heard that, I was thinking, oh boy, we're in a this is gonna be a hostile crowd. Which so Rick.
Yes.
It's funny because I think it's very obvious that now I'm trying to also be a little bit quiet because I'm trying to be considerate for my mother. But I think it's Rick lost a little bit of his voice. I definitely did as well when I was on that.
I had no voice to begin with.
Oh yeah, no, but it just got more shot. Like the more I started talking, the more we started sounding like RFK Jr. But
by the end of Sunday, Carter had like nothing left.
Oh, there was nothing left at the Jets Wild game. But Rick, this was your first time experiencing a Winnipeg crowd, like a Winnipeg Blue Bombers crowd. How was it?
I mean, to go from seeing the way that you guys have players enter the field, like the starting lineups, no other team does that.
Yeah.
Then you guys, I noticed this with Saskatchewan too. The West teams actually have the stats on the board the whole entire time.
Yep. Yeah, that's right.
And then good old Captain Blue.
He's got a frickin' plane.
Captain Blue has the plane.
He's got a plane. And then you got Buzz and Boomer as well. Hell yeah.
So the thing that I noticed with this game is both teams never showed up, if you want me to be honest. Toronto had 1 touchdown, 2 field goals, 1 single. Winnipeg had 1 touchdown, 1 single, 1 field goal. Neither offense showed up for this game. You might have seen it on the yardage.
Yeah.
But other than that, no one showed up. Like, this was a very defensive
Yeah, no,
game.
This was. Definitely. Yeah, I mean, all in all, like, as a Bomber fan, it kind of sucked in the sense of I really wanted to clinch the West here. And then it was like, okay, well, because we didn't, we may have to rely on someone else to help us out there.
One other thing that I will mention.
Yeah.
What a pre-game tailgate was going on that game. The different things I've seen in that tailgate, oh my lord. Some guy wearing a turkey on his head for Thanksgiving. Some guy dressed up as a baby that said Baby Kelly on it on his shirt, like an actual dressed baby.
Welcome to
Um,
Winnipeg, my friend. There's a lot of weird
oh yeah,
stuff.
the weirdness I seen in that tailgate, I'm like, oh my
There is,
lord.
I don't know, we get kind of a bit of everything. There's a guy that dressed up as the Golden Boy that we got
And
on
then
top
there's a
of our.
guy with like a TV on his head or something like that that has stuff that goes across.
Yeah, he's got like screens. Yeah.
Yeah,
And
it's like, oh
actually,
my
I think
lord.
that there was one of those in Saskatchewan too. I think Connor
Oh
got a
yeah, that's where
picture.
I saw it in Saskatchewan.
Well,
Not
I think we have one in Winnipeg as well. I think they're kind of everywhere to be honest. But there was a bit of everything. Um, but overall, how is the noise though, Rick? Like just the atmosphere.
oh my lord.
Because you were telling me about this. You were texting me during the game about this.
Well, I know Carter or Connor left with a headache. I want to say for 75% of the game, you could not hear yourself think.
Yeah, yeah, that's
And
it.
now I can understand why you guys are the loudest crowd.
It gets really rowdy. It gets
Oh,
really
it does.
rowdy, and this is where Rick, I think you would love to see a Banjo Bowl someday. Because if you want like, I think Banjo Bowl might get louder than playoffs. Just in the sense of if it's a playoff game against Saskatchewan, maybe not. But in just a normal play, I don't know, because playoffs gets really rowdy too. But Banjo Bowl is also one of those things where it's like win, lose, or draw, the Banjo Bowl is happening, no matter how good or bad, how bad the team is. And so it's kind of that annual tradition, just big old party and going against our arch rivals in the Saskatchewan Roughriders. So I think you should some year come out and check
I
out the
think
Banjo
I
Bowl in
think
Winnipeg.
either the year after the Alberta trip, or I'll do the Banjo trip first, and then the Alberta trip after that.
Oh yeah, you gotta come here for a whole week. Gotta come with us to Labor Day into Saskatchewan, and then you gotta come
Listen,
back with us
listen.
to Winnipeg.
I'm not missing my Labor Day.
Ah, fair enough. Fair enough. The but all in all, was a fun time as much as I wished for my Bombers to win. And at the end of the day, I also just kind of want you to share some of your experience, just because you'd never been in here. Also, what did you think of the place, IG Field or Princess Auto Stadium? Sorry,
Um,
what did you think of the
Not too
facility?
bad. There's
Yeah,
some spots that I wish that they'd put like more seatings in the open space.
yeah.
But
I
I
think
mean,
I think to be honest, the reason why they didn't is I think they do want to kind of have at least some kind of view out of the space, and also it is 32,000. It is like 32 and a half thousand, 33,000.
listen,
Um,
that 33,000, that could be more fans that you're bringing in for
that's true. That
Banjo
is
Bowl.
that is true. However, that's not the design they went with. So fair enough. But so that would be the first game of the week. 14-11 win for the Argos. And that would bring us to the Saturday. And before we get to kind of the one that we're going to have a bit more to talk about, we had the battle of what's left of Alberta between the Edmonton Elks and the Calgary Stampeders. This game would happen while we were on our 6-hour voyage from Winnipeg to Regina. And yeah, this it was hard to. I think it was hard for some people to get invested in this game, despite it being a Edmonton Calgary game, simply because of just how low the stakes are here. As they put the Stamps put in Schultz. He goes 18 for 33. Ouch. One touchdown, one interception. I mean, it's better than Bonner, but it's not good. 18 for 33 is not a good record. That's hardly over 50%. And just overall, just a rough night for the Stampeders. And
So I just
yeah,
want to point one thing out.
hmm
Edmonton had 7 yards less in rushing than they had passing.
yeah, and that's because Rankin ran for 140 yards, and it's really interesting because if you're the Elks, I mean Kevin Brown's he's gone, right? Because like think about it, you got Javon Leake, and then you also got Justin Rankin, and both of them have been extraordinary. Javon Leake comes in and in one game just blows it out of the water, and Rankin then consistently just kills that ball upfield. And I think if you're anything, if you are an Elks fan, Rankin is the guy you want to hold on to. If you can hold on to Leak, I think that would be really, really nice. But overall, I think you want to get more out of that receiving core. Oh, I'm tired. It is late. But then when we look into the Stampeders side of things, it's interesting seeing Schultz, 5 rushes, 64 yards rushing, in addition to his 215 passing. And that would mostly go for Reggie Bagleton with 5 receptions, 79 yards. And then Rene Paredes would go 1 for 1 with a 21-yard field goal. And then it doesn't look like, And then the Edmonton Elks, it doesn't look like they went for any field goals, at least that I can see here.
Who's that?
The Elks.
No, they did not.
They did not. Just because I see some singles in here with Boris Beatty, as he would get 2 off of kickoff in the second quarter, and then there would be a single from a punt that the Elks would get in the third quarter.
Yeah, no.
I'm not going to lie. There's not, because naturally with us going to the other 2 games, there's not as much I have to say about this game. And then also I struggled to get into it with just how kind of meaningless this game was, especially comparatively to other games that we had going on this weekend. Is there anything else you got on this one, Rick?
The only plus side on this game is Edmonton's defense had 5 sacks.
That's true. Anything else you got? Because not much I got, to be honest.
And Matt Schultz led the Stamps.
Yes.
With they had no. I'd hate to see what this team's going to be like in the offseason.
Calgary is going through a rough stint, and this is going to be a rebuild for the Stampeders, or a retool or something. A lot of changes need to be made. And if you're a Stampeders fan, all you can hope is that the management at least puts them in the right direction and makes those changes. But that'll bring us into the third game of the week, where the Saskatchewan Rough Riders completely run over the BC Lions in one of the worst showings of effort I have ever seen from the BC Lions. My God, no one showed up to play. No one in orange showed up to play that game. I'm not gonna lie. So, what were you gonna say, Rick?
All I can remember is me standing beside you in the end zone, and you texting your dad like, "What is this god awful garbage that we're watching?"
Yeah, no. And then my dad just texts me. He's like, "This is a shit show," and I'm like, "I know." And
as we get there,
and then I get Zach texting me going, "What?" in all caps. And this was just a disaster. And I'll talk about the thing in a second of when we walk into the building here. But if you're the BC Lions, you're worried about this. Nathan Rourke goes 15 for 23. It sure felt worse than that though. 200 passing yards. 8.7 yards on average, 0 touchdowns, 2 interceptions, one of them a pick 6 to nearly start the game. And this
his first two offenses were interceptions.
Yeah, with the first one being a pick 6 by a friend of the channel, Mr. AJ Allen. We have probably one of the best player interviews we've done is of AJ Allen up on the channel. And so make sure you guys check that out. It's like an hour and 19 minutes of pure nonsense. Also,
I'm going to throw out there.
Yeah.
Check our Instagram, because Carter put up a video up on the Instagram.
Well, it's on our Instagram.
Night.
It's also here up on YouTube as a YouTube short. You guys can check it out there as well. That's right. We're getting in the shorts game, Rick. We're getting in the shorts game. Where we actually meet up with AJ Allen after the game. He signs a few stuff we got there. Rick got his jersey signed. I think you were going to get that framed, I believe, right?
I was, but I had to wear it for this episode first.
Oh, fair enough. And also, thank you for signing the hat, AJ. Just because we had him on the show, so it felt right. And
Also, a shout out to Carter for getting these lovely hats made.
Yes, yeah, I got these hats made up for us. So not every single video we'll be wearing them, but we'll sometimes have it. And then it's also great if we're out and about here and there. And these, honestly, Rick, these things are comfortable. I like this. And
you don't even know.
If any of the wonderful people want one of these kind of hats at home, let us know in the comment section below. We might have to set up a store if it's really popular. Who knows? Like an online store. If it's really popular, who knows?
One thing I did mention that I did notice.
Yeah.
It didn't seem like Justin McInnes had 119 yards.
Oh, it didn't. You want to know what the thing is? How much you want to bet that's on like that drive where they get the touchdown in the second quarter and then almost nothing for the rest of the game?
Oh, also, I got to point out.
Yeah.
You know what's a slap in the face to VA? When they go from Nathan Rourke to Chase Bryce as the quarterback in the game.
Well, there's a few slaps in the face of Vernon Adams Jr. He takes one on the left cheek and one on the right cheek, I assure you. And Rourke starts the game, which I don't think he should have. And they make a lot of mistakes. Like the Lions make untold levels of mistakes. They're down 26-8 going into halftime. And you think, okay, this is bad. It's possible to turn it around, but you gotta make the right decisions. And so I'm thinking, okay, surely Vernon Adams Jr. starts the half. And I see one guy walk out with a helmet on, and one guy walk with a toque on. And I'm gonna tell you right now, it was the wrong guys. It was the wrong guys wearing the wrong stuff. As Nathan Rourke was ready to go out there. And it's one of those things, even if it's not 100% Nathan Rourke's fault, it's not working. You got to change something. This is kind of the equivalent of sometimes in a hockey game where a team is getting brutally outscored, they'll change the goalies. It doesn't necessarily mean it's the goaltender's fault that he's getting changed, but the players seeing that change happen, that can sometimes be a wake-up call of, guys, you're letting them out to dry. That's why this needed to happen. Get your head out of your ass and start playing. And so the Lions have the opportunity to do that, but they don't. And what they instead try to do is probably one of the most desperate-looking plays I've ever seen, where they go for the onside kick. And there's two ways they can go about this. They can try kicking this near the side, where they have a guy try to run and get under it, which is a very risky play because it would be very easy for the riders to just hit that thing out of bounds, or heaven forbid, he kicks it out of bounds. The smart play, if the onside kick is really what you want, is to actually do the squibble kick and to do almost like a Pat McAfee and just tip that ball just 10 yards and then jump on it. And you're much more likely to get it that way, as you're also preventing the team from literally just swatting it out of bounds and keeping possession. The problem is that the logical decision was not the decision that the BC Lions made. And they went to kick it. And Sean White boots that thing straight out of bounds. And of course, so now they don't get the possession that they desperately needed. They're now showing the opponents just how desperate they are. And they got like a 10-15 yard penalty or whatever the hell it is for kicking the ball out of bounds. And now you've just handed the Saskatchewan Roughriders field goal range, and they haven't even started their drive. And so this was just a terrible. This is a calamity of errors. The defense couldn't do anything for BC. Nathan Rourke couldn't do anything for BC. The coaching and the play calling was useless. No one showed up for the Lions. Absolutely no one. Hell, maybe Flintloft, maybe the punter. You know what? Fair enough. Credit to Flintloft. Now, I will say I think Flintloft had a little bit of troubles hitting the not so hanging score clock there, but as he sure seems to love doing that. But his punting was good, but wasn't really much else that was. Again, McInnes was good in the sense of he got 119 receiving yards, but what did you get at from that? So, Rick, how you feeling?
Oh my Lord!
What did you think of this game? Because I went on a bit of a tangent there.
Game. What's that?
I went on a bit of a tangent here, so I want to know what you thought of this game.
I mean, different. I don't know. I find that both stadiums are kind of not really built the same,
Oh,
but
they
like
totally are. They're
the
very
way that
similar. They are similar stadiums, and I mean it's built by the same architecture firm down in the States, so it makes sense why they are similar.
and oh my lord, Carter,
Yeah,
you did not lie. When we walked into that Argos or the Ryder store,
it's huge.
everything that team sells.
Oh yeah.
I even seen a freaking golf bag.
Well, it's funny, Rick. If if anyone had questions about whether Wayne Smith was telling the truth with his crazy story about the shit he had to sign, you now know that he wasn't lying, as they really have everything. Riders, spoons, knives, forks, cups, freaking napkins, probably golf bags. I'm sure they got golf tees. I'm sure they got golf balls that have it. I don't know. They probably sell. I don't know. They probably like they sell everything riders.
I don't even know why
You could
I
probably
got the
find
fanny
this
pack,
tape
but I got
measure
it.
in rider green, you know.
I mean, I even got a fanny pack.
Yeah, exactly. He's rocking the rider fanny.
Also, on the trip, ta-da!
Yes, we bought some not hockey cards, CFL
Okay.
cards, courtesy
Funny-
of Joe Daly's on St. Mary's Avenue.
Funny story is, I go in to the store. I'm like, I want a box.
This is in Winnipeg, by the way.
I'm saying I want a box. This guy thinks I want a full
He
cardboard
thinks
box.
he wants a case.
This guy goes into the back, gets me a case. He's like, "Yep,
And the
$2,000."
Yeah, and the case has 20 of these. And Rick's like, "Oh yeah, I'm gonna get it." I'm like, "Rick, that's." And he's like, "Well, the guy said it was $105." And I was like, "No, 105 per, and there's 20." And then the guy's like, "Yeah, it's about 2,000." And Rick's like, "Oh, what? No." It just pushes it back like a man just afraid of like the pension that's about to go leak from his bank account onto the thing there. It's like, Rick, I know you love the CFL, but like, good God, even I don't love that much to sink $2,000 on frickin' football cards. But that was fun.
I will say they have some
Yep.
interesting food at their stadium. I really like that chicken Popeye chicken.
Oh yeah,
poutine
yeah,
that we had.
at the Raider Stadium. I really like. We didn't end up. So unfortunately, our original plan was actually to film some content before the game, as we had announced in a video beforehand. Unfortunately, we just did not have enough time when we got there. We got set up at the Airbnb. We had to grab a Sharpie from Staples because we were getting stuff signed. And by the time we got to the building, we really did not have the time that we thought we'd have in order to get that done. So
Here's
that'll have to
a
be for
rule-
another time.
Here's a rule of thumb, people. When you got to make a 6-hour drive like we did, leave even way earlier than what we thought.
Yeah,
We
exactly.
thought, okay,
Just leave it like 6 in the morning because we left at, I think, 9, right?
no, yeah, we got up at 8. We left at 9 thinking, okay, we would get there.
And also
got
you
there
get an
about-
hour back, but we spent a
We
lot
got
more
there
time at the
about
Airbnb.
3. We got there about 3. Then we had to go to Staples.
In traffic.
And then we ended up going there, and it was like, what?
It was
10 minutes before kickoff. Then we had to find parking, walk to the stadium.
Yeah, and it's funny because literally we had although I will say one thing, sorry, I don't know who lives in Regina, but for anyone living in Regina, why the hell are there some places where they use yield signs instead of stop signs at what should be a two-way stop? That's weird. I'm sorry, I don't
Also-
understand that. Right near the stadium, like,
Also, one other thing that I want to mention.
yeah.
What do you people, I don't know what it is in Regina, and I'm not hating on people.
Uh-oh.
Why do you have no left turns on a red light sign?
Yeah,
Obviously, you cannot make
why does that need to be said? There's a few spots where it said no turning left on red, and it's like, good God, who is doing it? So that needed to be a sign. Like, who kept making left-handed turns on red? So,
I will say though, it was a good drive. What I would like to know, and I'm not here to be rude or anything.
Yep.
I'm sure there's a reason for it, but you would think that that grave site that we've seen on the side of the road, that they would have it like fenced in. I'm not sure if you saw it or not. There's like some random grave site on the side of the road. I know some people probably passed away and and whatnot, but I'm just curious. I'm like, why would you not have something like that fenced in? Also, if you take
here's my honest question: what difference does the fence make?
No, it's just I've never seen anything like that.
Most of them are. When you get out in the country, I think it's just like there's just no need.
Also, anyone that goes on Trans-Canada Highway, cross your fingers that your car does not break down during the middle of the night because there is no streetlights.
Oh, hell no. No, absolutely. I was about to say, this is how you can tell this boy's never been in the prairies. It's like none of the highways, like a lot of them don't have any, like you might get some, like you'll have like the perimeter highway in Winnipeg that'll have some streetlights. They might have some running north to like near like Stony Mountain, near like Stonewall. But I mean, the second you get past like Stonewall, there's nothing in terms of lights. Actually, it's not even divided. It's actually then two lanes, one going one way, one going the other, with just a little line of paint in the middle, pitch black. I mean, if you got to rely on your high beams.
I mean, if you want me to be honest, the house that we stayed in Winnipeg, it was like every 6 to 8 houses was a street light. So I mean, the street that we were staying on wasn't any better either.
No, but
mind. I've one last thing that I mentioned before we go to our last game. Yep. I've noticed you guys like to do a lot of U-turns. Not only at intersections, but at medians too.
It's not that we like to do U-turns; it's that we kind of have to with the way that they design our infrastructure.
I mean, you're not wrong.
Yeah.
It's like every time we jump in an Uber, gotta do a U-turn in the middle of this.
Yeah, no, it's
Oh, and what I swear this is the last thing. My God, if I could bet on Carter running a marathon against Zach, going to the Jets game, I could have been rich seeing these two run like their life depending on getting to that game, running through that tunnel from the mall to the arena.
Yeah, that's right.
On the Sunday.
So for all wondering, Rick got to experience the wonderfulness of Portage Place in one of the emptiest, most deserted malls in the middle of the downtown city. I told you there's nothing. There is nothing in that mall.
Literally like 3 stores.
I told you. I said there's like 3 tenants and the rest is empty because they're going to be tearing that dump to the ground. Like it doesn't.
Oh my God, was it you that told me when you go into the stairwell, plug your nose?
Yep. I told you. It stinks. There is the smell of urine and feces in there, and there are used heroin needles. So just plug your ears, or not plug your ears, plug your nose. It's disgusting. It's absolutely disgusting. But we needed to get to our car.
But with that being said, let's get on to the most boringest game of the week.
Is it this one or is it the Edmonton-Calgary one? Let's be real.
No. So, this one had 1 touchdown. The rest were field goals.
Oh, that's a good point. That is a good point. The Montreal Alouettes would defeat the Ottawa Redblacks by a score of 19-12, in which this game really didn't matter that much, with Montreal already having the East final locked up. And then it's still, I think, a race between the Redblacks and the Argos for that home playoff game. I'm not going to lie, if you're the Redblacks, you really want that home playoff game because it's been a few years since that. But they are 1 point now behind the Argos, so it will all kind of come down to the wire in that regard. Now, with this game, Jeremiah Mazzoli would have a bit of a rough time. 19 for 34, not a good, just not good. 216 yards passing with 1 interception, so less than ideal numbers for him. Rushing, receiving, not really able to get a ton of offense. Davis Alexander would go 14 for 24 for the Alouettes. No touchdowns, 1 interception for him as well. And then not very much rushing. And there's no one in this entire game that cracks 100 yards receiving. Austin Mack, though, leading the charge with 92 yards receiving for the Alouettes. And then there's no one above. Actually, good God, it's actually worse than that, Rick. There's only one receiver who gets more than 50 yards receiving. That's it. Out of both teams, it's just Austin Mack who gets 92. You got Fletcher with 45, and then with the Red Blacks, you got Jalen Eklund with 40. That's just...
Pimpleton on Ottawa had 74.
Oh, okay. I guess it's missing that one then. So, there's that too. That's still not very much. But then, I mean, if we look at the kicking side of things, Lewis Ward would go 4 for 5 with his longest of 42 yards. And then on the Alouettes, Maltos would go 4 for 4 with a 47-yard field goal as his longest. And all in all, just really wasn't that much.
I will be honest, I didn't even watch this game.
Oh, I did not watch this game. I watched.
I basically.
I checked some
when
highlights.
we got home, when we got back into Ontario at about what was it, 10 to 11 in the morning on Thanksgiving Monday. I just basically drove them home, and I just went to bed.
Yeah, I just watched the highlights for this one, and there's really not much. Nice catch here, there, decent defensive play, not much. Ottawa, like if we look at it like this way, the Alouettes would get a little bit of offense the first half of this game, a field goal in the first, 10 points in the second, nothing in the third, and then they would grab 6 points in the fourth. And Ottawa would consistently really not do much with nothing in the first, 3 points in the second, 6 in the third, and another field goal in the fourth for a total of 12 points. So, again, just really not much offense happening on either side of the ball here.
But, I mean, at the same time, they're probably resting a lot of their starters on defense as well.
For the Alouettes, yeah. For the Red Blacks, I don't know. Because for the Red Blacks, they were still like fighting for that second spot in the East. There's still something to fight for, so I sure hope.
I mean, Red Blacks did have 4 sacks.
Yep, that's true. But all in all, they would lose by a touchdown, and that would be game. Don't know if there's anything else you have that you want to cover on that. There's nothing else I got.
No. However, Carter.
Yeah.
I have a new license. If no one has ever heard my story.
Oh.
Of what had happened on my way to Winnipeg, I decided that after checking in at my last check-in point, I would hold my license in my hands, lost it in the tunnel. And yeah, I had to go get a new license this morning.
So did you just get your paper one, or did they?
Yeah, I got the paper one. I just got to wait 4 weeks normally, for the plastic to come in the mail.
Oh, it takes 4 weeks for you guys? It only takes 2 for us.
No, they said... to
be fair, it operates the exact same. So, I mean...
They just don't have my pretty mug on the card.
Yeah, they don't have that pretty picture of Rick looking into the camera like that, or whatever it is.
Also... Carter, there's some news for this upcoming week.
Oh, yeah?
Oh, yeah.
So are we going to get into that now or the next video?
Well, let's just put it this way. Rourke is not the starter in BC
I heard about
anymore.
This sounds like
it is now Vernon Adams' team to lose.
And we will talk about that matchup in the next one. I'm not going to lie. That sounds like a next video kind of thing.
Leave him on the cliffhanger.
Dun, dun, dun. It's not really much of a cliffhanger, boys. It comes out tomorrow.
No. True.
So thank you guys so much for tuning in. Make sure you guys leave a like and subscribe if you haven't already. If you're listening to this on Spotify, make sure you guys give us 5 stars. Really, really appreciate that. Helps out the channel a ton. And any closing thoughts here, Rick?
Reminds me, I got to go do that.
Yeah, I know. Anyways, peace, love, and positivity to all you wonderful people at home. And I'll see you guys next time.